So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today I'm joined by two members from the band Edensong. They're a progressive rock band from New York City. I have James and I have TD. How are you guys today?
Tired.
Greetings. Yeah, yeah. It's bright and early here. Yeah, glad to be here though.
Yeah, it's early for me too, so it's early morning. So yeah, I listened to your new album that's coming out in 1 week, I believe, right? The May the 9th.
Yeah, May 9th.
May 9th, and it's Our Road to Dust. It's the album. It's your first album in 9 years. So yeah, so it's good to have the band back. So uh, for people that haven't listened to the band, how would you describe the sound of your band?
You want to take this one?
Sure. Hey, I'm TD Towers. As the guy in the band who's probably like the least prog oriented in the group, I would say that the music is genuinely progressive, and I think that this is a band. So I've been, I think, other than James, the only band member who's been on all three full-length records, and so the trajectory of the band has been very interesting creatively. We do take these huge glacial time periods in between records, which means we change a lot as humans. The lineup of the band changes a lot. All three records are very, very different. So the songs themselves are, of course, progressive, but I think that the trajectory of the band has been progressive as well. Like the first record is almost like professorial. James was a student when he was working on that. It has a lot of like big, sort of like judgments, I would say, about the world. It really puts, it puts humans like conceptions of God and stuff through the ringer, stuff that any good traditional prog band should do. If we're not like questioning God, we're not being a good prog band. I think that the band became a lot more meta and a lot more emotional on the second record, Years in the Garden of Years. I think James started to reflect on not just like time as a concept, but like time as it applies to his process. And I think that that really kind of comes to its final place on Our Road to Dust, where it's like we take so long to make our stuff. The surfing the glacier approach that we've taken so far to Edensong had really threatened to pulverize this band into nothingness. And this record, I think, was really a way of saying, nope, we're going to stand our ground and continue the journey. So I'd say that the band is progressive, but I'd call it emotional progressive, but not like emotional in like a crying sort of a way, like deep existential personal angst. I'd say we're a real person, a personally self-inviscerating sort of a band. That's kind of our genre, is taking too deep a look at the inside and doing that in a progressive way.
Yeah, I mean we try to be a little unpredictable. So to like say what the band sounds like is a little hard, but yeah, we listen to a lot of like we grew up on a lot of like proggy stuff from the 70s. We grew up on a lot of metal. So we grew up on like, we grew up in the 90s. So, with a lot of like alternative rock and the zeitgeist. So like that's all mixed up in a blender and especially comes together on this record. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why obviously it took 9 years for you guys to get this one. What were you doing those 9 years? Were you like touring, working on other stuff, or just the timing wasn't right for a new record?
Yeah, I mean, working on other stuff, as in, like having a family and dealing with a global pandemic. I think that's about the way, So I think for me personally, those were extreme years of transition. I think went from having one kid sort of manageable to having like three kids very incompatible with music making. But also, a big shift personally and professionally with the pandemic and having to like reevaluate some professional choices that I made. So there was a lot of like life stuff that got in the way with the making of this record. It's not like we were locked away in a studio for 9 years making this thing. Though that did happen with the previous album. I feel like, we did literally take 8 years to make the previous album, Years in the Garden of Years, and this was a conscious decision not to take a super long time making an album. And in some ways, I think we delivered on that in that we didn't have a ton of like hours in the creative process, but there were a lot of hiccups along the way, just like, life stuff, world stuff, professional, family obligations, all sorts of things that happened before this band could really get back together and commit to this. Yeah, like we're doing now. Very happy to be playing again
Yeah,
and get this record out there.
six Edensong children were produced in the time it took us between writing the music and getting it out the door. So the babies were easier to make than it was to finish and release an album. But I think, yeah, all told, it was probably actually the quickest we've ever done one of these. It was probably maybe a year and a half if you put it all together chronologically in terms of the actual hours spent on the work, which I think bodes really, really well for how we're going to proceed now that we've gotten like locked back into the band.
Awesome. Yeah. So you can say that this process was mainly your road to dust. Yeah, that's a good album title. So plus you have something that not a lot of metal bands or progressive bands have, but you have the flute, like Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull, who I saw that gave you guys some props in a like he quoted you as being like a great modern progressive metal band. So I know that on this album you have a lot of guest musicians too. Do you like incorporating all of those like instruments like violin, the flute, to the sound of Edensong?
Let me
That's
take that one,
always been,
James.
oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I kind of want to say something about the flute in this band, and this goes back to your first question, like what does the band sound like? I think it's really important to say that like we're a band that has a guy named Barry Seroff in the band, and Barry happens to play the flute. Maybe in the early days, this was imagined as a band that would use flute as a featured instrument. I think that we've really gotten to the point where like the flute happens to be the way that Barry expresses himself within this band. But I do want to draw like a heavy distinction that like the flute is not like a concept for the band. It's just, another means of expressing something very strange. And Barry's approach to it is very different than Ian Anderson's and extraordinarily strange. So, I do want to draw that line there. I also want to say I've watched James's journey, like incorporating all kinds of exotic instruments. The last record has like an actual acoustic gamelan choir on it. This is the most restrained James has ever been in terms of incorporating other wacky instruments. I think more and more and more, we're really trying to say like what is in the heart of this band and like what is in our minds and how can we express that rather than be like, check out this cool orchestra of stuff, exotic sounds you've never heard. I think we realize that what's inside of our strange brains is many times more exotic than any like one individual instrument. But that's just my take on it.
Oh, that makes sense. And yeah, I know that when I was listening to the record, actually the flute in those songs made pretty much a lot of sense in the type of music that you guys play.
Yeah, I mean this is about as stripped down as you get Edensong so far. And it's cool to see that progression. I feel like the yeah, taking out all of the strange, exotic instruments from the equation. Yeah, it feels liberating in a way, to get back to the core of us. And I feel like this album is sort of like meta about the band and about a brotherhood. And it's very much reflects just the four of us and our like individual musical identities and how those coalesce.
Yeah, and is this album? I know there's a lot of different things, but is there like a concept to the record per se?
This one's going to be you too, or do you want this one to be me?
I'll try to keep it brief. I think that when we started this process, we were just coming off of the end of the Years in the Garden of Years cycle, and Tony Waldman, our drummer and co-writer and sort of cheerleader mascot, and Stefan Paolini, our keyboard player, They both stepped away from the band to pursue other means of growth, which was awesome for them, sad for us. I think it would have been the moment at which, this could have all fallen apart. And James and I have known each other since we were 5 years old. And I think we took a hard look deeply into each other's eyes and realized that there was one Hail Mary pass that we could make in order to keep the band together. And that was inviting one very particular person into the band, somebody by the name of Nick DiGregorio, who stepped into the impossible to fill shoes that Tony left as the drummer. And so I would say if there's a concept to this record, it's really looking deeply into our soul and saying, like, why are we still doing this? Like, what is motivating us to do this? What motivates people to do the things that seem so insane to everybody else, but they just can't stop themselves from doing? And is there something beautiful in that, or is it just wildly dangerous and self-indulgent? I'm not sure we answered that question, but what we did answer is that we're going to keep doing it. We can't help ourselves.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, what I get it is like no matter what obstacles life throws at you, you keep going. So it's like a endurance type of like record in that way. And listening to it, I felt like a lot of hope in the songs that I was listening to. So yeah, we can. I want to talk a few of the tracks. So first of all, the single that also I think ends the record, "Road to Dust." I love that song. That 7 minute song. It feels like very like I like it because there's like more acoustic part, more slower part. So tell us a little bit about that track in particular.
Yeah, I love that one too, and it seems like people are really responding to that, which is great. I think in many ways that's our most like traditionally prog song on the record, and I think it sort of like reflects the history of Edensong. I think it feels the most comfortable to our roots. But it's yeah, but it is, yes, it's the title track. It's like epic. It's got the it's very, acoustic. I think yeah, I'm trying to think yeah, it's very, it's got like that I don't know, 70s progressive vibe to it. I think that yeah, it feels like maybe a little like Jethro Tull or Kansas type of throwback. But with some of the heavier elements, and I feel like the whole middle section is really like interesting, filtered through like Barry's conceptual, like strange compositional style. So there's really like sort of unconventional development. I think that Barry built out for that middle section where it gets real weird and hard to play live. We've really been having a lot of fun with that recently, trying to like learn all these songs in rehearsal. But yeah, that's a fun one. I feel like that main melody just like flew fully formed into my head while I was driving one time, and I don't usually like think that way. Um, I'm not primarily a melodic thinker, but there was something about that just like flew in fully formed. I started like humming it and like had to like, while driving, put it quickly on like a voice note so I would remember it later. And I'm glad I did because I think that sort of ties the whole song together.
Yeah. So sometimes the best inspiration comes in the most unexpected times, I guess, like when you're driving. So yeah, and I also love you have two songs that you have lyric videos for, Hall of Statues and Book of Complaints. Which I think Book of Complaints is like a shorter one, like a 3 minute and 13-second type of song, more punchy, more to the point. Did you enjoy doing the lyric videos?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed finding someone who we trusted to do the lyric videos. And those creative collaborations are fun. I mean, especially with like Wayne working on the Book of Complaints video. I mean, he's done videos for huge name bands, like Dream Theater, yes, and on and on and on. And so really what we just sent him the lyrics and the music and like a really like brief concept. I'm like, go at it, dude. Have fun. And that's sort of how he works. I think he just like comes up with these crazy ideas and just like generates these wacky images and stuff. So that was a lot of fun because we did not see it until it was like, scheduled to come out basically. We like, saw it, posted it on YouTube, and that was that. There was no like series of revisions because we were on a really tight timeline for that. With the Book of Complaints video, we had done that actually years and years and years in advance. Like that, I think.
You mean Hall of Statues?
Sorry, yes, with the Hall of Statues video, we had done it. Yeah, probably back in 2018, 2019. So that was a completely different thing. So we had plenty of time to ruminate on that one.
Yeah, but the good thing about those lyric videos is that you actually don't have to be in a music video, which is I've talked to some bands and they tell me like it's not fun at all. Like it's just a lot of like standing and waiting.
It's fun. We've done really fun ones. I mean, we had a really fun one for the last record that is wacky and like we literally like burned an acoustic piano to the ground. Didn't actually get footage of it, which was horrendously sad, right? I don't think that there's actually like good
What?
procedural footage of it. We see the piano burning, but like we didn't get the whole.
Oh, of it lighting on fire?
Yeah.
I mean, the lighting on fire wasn't that exciting, but yeah, the whole it's called In the Longest of Days. I mean, that is my fondest like Edensong video
Yeah.
experience. I love that. I mean, just and working with Nick Fiore, who's like a high school friend of ours, also on that video was a wild time. But yeah, that's the so yeah, I don't know. Music videos can definitely be fun. We didn't do a lot of standing around, but that was
Y-
in a beautiful place and sort of a
Yeah.
strange concept, and it was I love that one.
I'm sure we'll return to it in the future. I think that with this record, by the end of the process, we were pretty ground down, and we all have kids, and so I think it wasn't so much about standing around and waiting. I think we would all love to stand around and wait on a film set. It was really just about not having the time to do it, and also finding people who we could really trust to make something amazing. Like, Wayne reminds me of like he's kind of like this generation's like Roger Dean. He's sort of like he's been all over the landscape, and so to say that like we have something that Wayne made for us, I think that's really very exciting to sort of enter into that pantheon of bands that he's worked with. So it made it easier for us not to make a record. I mean, make a video this time around, but I'm sure we'll do it the next time out.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure we'll have video content. It's just like were we going to have any video content for this album or were we going to go without video content? So like, the lyric videos were how we were able to get that out.
if you film a new music video and if you plan to burn something, record it. Like so we can check it out. So I want to show the artwork of the record so we can talk about the artwork. Give me 1 second while I get the artwork. Oh, it's not it's not letting me show the artwork now. What the hell? Well, like I know the artwork. Yeah. Oh, perfect. You got me covered.
It's all blurred out, James.
Yeah.
So this was fun. This is something that I managed to work with a collaborator named Nate Dorr on. So I did the art direction for the record, which was really fun. It started off with sketches of mine that I passed back and forth with Nate. So this was the first time that I've done, uh, you know, sort of the design for Edensong start to finish. But Nate is the one who hand drew that crazy map. And interesting story about the map is that this is actually a map of every geographic location that's been important to Edensong turned into like one fake island. So there are parts of New York in there. I think that there's parts of Quebec in there, uh, places that were like really huge to us over the trajectory of our career so far. So that's all real. Those are real geographic locations turned into one sort of a fictional island. I thought that that was a really interesting concept. And this idea, the aesthetic idea of this is that it's supposed to look like a truly insane person's, like, scrawlings of like a cartography, like in the attic of their mind. And I think that we really achieved something that looks both beautiful, but also like borderline insane. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah, and I got to show the picture so we could people can see what we're talking about. So yeah, it looks pretty. Uh, I'm glad that you explained that you took like different geographic locations, but yeah, it looks good, and I like the way that you scroll the name of the band, and it looks like someone, you know, like you said, like intently drew it there. So yeah, it's a cool artwork. Who did the artwork?
So the name of the person who did the artwork is Nate Dorr. You can find him at natedorr, DORR.com. I've collaborated with him on a whole bunch of personal projects musically. He's an incredible artist who can, I mean, he's just well versed in every style of art you can possibly think of. So he and I collaborated closely on this, but he's the one who did the pixels.
Yeah, so versatile. Yeah, and that logo especially, I remember trying to like we like fretted over getting the right level of deranged and like messy versus like legible. Yeah, but I think it came out real cool.
Yeah, no, it turned out great. So I know the recording process for this. I think James, you did a lot of the recording for this, correct?
Yeah, so all of the previous Edensong records I recorded in their entirety and I mixed. I didn't master them, but you know the rest of the like production process I had handled independently, and it became like, and I was planning on doing that with this record, but it became apparent pretty early on that if that were to happen, that this record would just never get done. So we started seeking out mix engineers, and yeah, Fascination Street Studio in Sweden has put out a lot of like my favorite sounding modern progressive metal albums over the past decades, I guess. So like that was a real like natural fit, and that was sort of our like go-to for this album. And Johan had just started working there, and he just, I feel like, did a phenomenal job mixing this record. So I was very happy to pass the mixing aspect along. But yes, the recording was done in-house, you know, from the drum recordings, you know, which Nick like banged out over a few days, and then the rest, you know, we sort of took some years to supplement that with the rest of our parts.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, everything turned out great. So I know the album's coming out the 9th. You have a few shows planned right now, right?
Yeah, we've got two shows coming up. So the first one is the night before the album release on May 8th, and that's our hometown show, New York City, Brooklyn, Williamsburg, Main Drag Music. And that's a really cool venue. It's inside a music store. So they've got like vintage keyboards and guitars and stuff. So it's like perfect for a prog audience. So
The
that's
room
going to be
itself
really
is
fun.
amazing. It's like the
Sorry.
Bat Cave. The room
Yeah.
itself is like the Bat Cave. It's gigantic,
Yeah.
subterranean, and the sound system there is incredible. The sound guys there are all amazing.
Yeah. So we're really excited for that. That's with You Bred Raptors, also from New York, and John Galgano and Laura Mead from and they're we go way back with so it's exciting to be playing with them again. And then the following week we head up to Quebec to literally like our favorite stage in the world. We've played the Terra Incognita Festival. This will be our third time playing the festival, but we've also played up there as part of a concert series that's the same promoter and the same venue. So we've played that. This will be our fourth time playing that stage up in Quebec City, and we're very excited for that. So that's on May 17th.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's a nice city. So yeah, you guys are gonna be busy. So I'm going to post the link for anyone who wants to pre-order the record. So I want to thank the both of you, James and TV, for taking some time to chat with me about your new album, Our Road to Dust. So before I let you guys go, anything you'd like to say to the fans before we go?
We will not surf the glacier again this is not the last you've heard of Edensong. It will not take 9 years to make the next one.
Yeah.
Good.
We'll see you soon.
Awesome. So guys, again, thank you. It's been awesome to chat with you. So Couchers, Edensong, Road to Dust out May the 9th. So if you like progressive rock with lots of experimentation, I would recommend you listen to this album, and also check out their previous stuff as well. So until next time, Couchers, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on the Couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.